I think that we are now live. Today is Tuesday, February 15th. My name is Christina Dillabo. I'm the Director of Communications for the Desert Southwest Conference. And this is Tuesday Talks. It's a weekly gathering with local church communicators, liaisons, talking about news that's coming up, things that you might want to share in your local church news channels. Maybe sometimes we have moments where we're sharing ideas about here's what we're doing for the holidays, or questions about technology or software or grants that are coming in. It's a good time, I think, not super long, and so it's time well spent. And if nothing else, it's just getting to know each other to be able to have a solid networking community so we don't feel alone. And if there's some big project we're working on and we need help, we might pick up from these Tuesday Talks that, hey, there's that one other church that did this already, or maybe this person might know about it. So one such thing was earlier this week, I got a question about asking, oh, and there he is, right on time. One of our churches asked me, who's that guy that offers like tech support sometimes or tech ideas? Their church needed something, and I was thinking, I bet you it's David Topping. So I shared David's email with them and probably got in touch with you. Good. So that right there, proof that this Tuesday Talks works, because they wouldn't have known about David had they not been participating. So spread the word, keep coming back, check in with the emails, and if you have a question, just send it on by and we'll share it through the network and try to get an answer. Another recent question that I had was from, again, one of our churches. They had asked about, this was a first for me, they asked about licensing issues. Would there be any issues? Can we use, they sent me a link from an Etsy page where it looked like, basically what it is digital files that you can purchase that you could use like for a cry cut machine, or maybe you could use it for creating t-shirts. I think they were going to use it to decorate their sanctuary, to create signs in their like worship space, maybe not the sanctuary, but like in the worship space. So, fonts cost money, but these designs already have whatever fonts they are. It's not like a font that you're downloading onto your computer. It's just a design that you can print and use in whatever way. So the question was, can I buy that as an individual and use it for my church? Does it have to be through the church if it's going to be for the church? And there's something about a business license. Do we need that? So not knowing exactly what they're using these designs for, here's what I did, and this is what I recommend for you guys. Anytime that you're going out to buy something for the church, the first question, is it okay if I buy it and then my church uses it? It's probably okay, but I really don't recommend that. I think it would be best if you were to purchase whatever it is, and if you have to enter an email address, using the email address, because as we know, we have clergy that move to different churches. Staff aren't going to be there forever. Volunteers change, come and go. So it would be much better to have that purchase history in the church's accounts. I mean, like if I bought something from my church, am I going to turn in the receipt to them? Maybe, maybe not. It would be so much cleaner to just have that purchase done by the church's email, using the church's email address as the contact. You could, as a volunteer or clergy, be the one that's there paying for it, entering your credit card information. Just don't allow reoccurring purchases. That could work out. So that was my first recommendation. And then as far as whether or not they could use the designs without any problems. So on Etsy, for example, let me step back. My point was going to be just be sure to contact whoever it is that's selling the item. Check to see what do they say. A lot of times if their disclaimer or licensing description doesn't quite cover, or you're not really sure, it's hard to understand, there's going to be contact information. So contact them, explain that you are a church, it's a nonprofit organization, this is how we're going to use it, this is the amount of time that we're going to use it for. So far, I've noticed that when we use something that's not for profit, so if I bought that design and I was going to print t-shirts for my nonprofit organization, my church, but we're going to sell those t-shirts and make some money on it, that's for profit then. It is for your nonprofit organization, but now you're making money on that, so that's a for-profit situation. So you would need the business license and talk about how that works with that person or organization that you're buying the items from. Hope that that's not too complicated. The gist of it is just, if you have questions, follow up with that organization. I checked out the link that they sent me, and on Etsy, on the top right-hand corner, if you're looking at a product, you'll be able to see the profile name. You can click on that, then it brings up the profile account. And at least when I brought it up, on the top right-hand corner of the profile, there's a contact us button. So that's what I did, and there was a form that you can fill out to ask questions. But it looked like for what this church wanted, which was just to use those designs for decoration in their worship background, it looked like it would have been just fine for them to go ahead. But just keep that in mind and follow up, do your due diligence, check to see that there's not going to be any licensing issues. And if you have questions, you can also try to contact me. All right. Questions about that? Anything somebody wants to share about experiences like that? Okay. All right. So the next item is about the clergy email setup support. In my follow-up email, I'm going to include the help desk phone number. It's GCFA, it's the General Council on Finance and Administration. That's the organization that we get our IT support from. So they've got an email address and a phone number. If your new or current pastor is having problems accessing their @dscumc.net email account, you can certainly contact me. I can try to help out, but sometimes if I'm not available or whatever, they can also contact the help desk and they'll be able to help them. The important part is just to say that they are clergy in the Desert Southwest Conference. I need help setting up my clergy email account, and then they'll go ahead and help out. And that includes adding access on your cell phone for it, maybe putting in a shortcut on the desktop to get to it easily. There's all sorts of different things that they could do to offer support in that arena. So it's important that they are getting connected, because many communications to clergy are going only to their @dscumc.net account. So if your pastor is not using it, they're missing out on important information from the bishop for sure. And that's the email account that we'll be using for annual conference, for like registration, for voting, all that. So they definitely, now's the time so it's not like a stressful crunch time for them to get familiar with logging into that account and accessing it quickly. All right, what else? Help desk. Oh, and then I've got to refresh. I was remembering this morning that when we created that clergy email account, we had sent a user agreement. It was a PDF document that explains, it has the help desk information in there and all the rules for using the account and how we were going to use it, all that business. I think that we had said that we would review it every year and send an updated copy. So we haven't done that yet, but we will do that soon. And then I will be sending that out to all clergy, so you all have the updated user agreement. I know one of the things that keeps coming up is concerns, questions, frustrations about why can't we just have it forward to our existing account? Like, I can use the dscumc.net account, but if it would just go to my personal account or my whatever account, then I would be able to see everything much easier. So that's something that we'll review and consult with GCFA about it to make sure we're not adding in security issues by doing that if we switch to allowing it, because right now we don't allow automatic forwarding. So that sort of thing is what would be in an updated user agreement, if anything like that changes. Okay, questions about that? Oh, okay. Usage rights, survey update. So, and actually before I get to survey update, so the reminders that I had in the invitation today just had a lot of deadlines. I don't know if anybody has questions about formatting, if anyone in your church group, in your circles, if you hear them talking about they're going to submit some legislation, a rule change or whatever, we are going to have a new template that's going to be used this year for submitting those things, but it's not available yet, sorry. But in the meantime, if you hear of anybody that wants to submit something, they should email Carla Whitmire, so that once that new template is ready, she'll know who to send it to right away, and you don't have to keep an eye out for some other communication about it. And thank you, Carla. She added her email address in the chat, and I will include it in the follow-up email to everyone. Okay, questions about that? Okay. Then the final thing is the communication survey. So thank you everyone that has been spreading the news. We started it back in November and we did pretty good. According to UMCOM, United Methodist Communications, who does this sort of thing on a regular basis, I was feeling kind of like, well, I think we had a little over 300 responses then. And so it seemed kind of concerning, but they said, no, that's actually a really good response rate. So that felt better. And the Commission on Communications decided, but I think we can do even better. So we sent the survey again out through social media. We got some more responses that way. And then we sent you guys another request to send the survey. And what's really cool about it, so that this is part of why I'm mentioning it now, is some of our churches inquired at that point about, wasn't there a unique link that we could use so that we can get a copy of our church's survey responses? And yes, there is. So if you still want to send it out, you haven't done it yet, or you sent it out and you feel like, I wonder how many responses we got, contact me. I'll let you know how many responses your church has had, and then you can decide if you want to send it out again. Contact me if you want your church's unique link. I'll send it to you so you can send it out again. Contact me if at this point I want a copy of my church's responses. I think that's as many as we're going to get. I know it hasn't closed yet. I can send you a report with your church's information. Let's see. What else was I going to say about that? Once it's all done, we will do some kind of a summary report about all of it all together that we'll share with everyone. Already, we've shared some of the open-ended questions with Extended Cabinet, which is the bishop, the district superintendents, our director of finance, myself, the executive assistant to the bishop. I think that's everybody. Oh, and director of New and Vital Faith. Shared it with them because there's a lot of interesting information about the concerns of the people in the pews, of our clergy, of our church staff, anybody that filled out that survey. One of the open-ended questions was, I think it was, what's your biggest concern about the future of the church? That's pretty useful information. So how could a local church use that information? Well, if it's some of the responses that we had, I'd say the highest one was concerns about a potential split. And then right next to that was concerns about issues on sexuality. And that part was kind of the majority, I'd say, were concerned about, are we being inclusive enough? Are we caring for everyone? And kind of an equality issue. We had a few that were concerned that we're wasting too much time on that topic. And then the next thing that wasn't too far off was concerns over not enough attention on outreach for young people young families, that sort of thing. So a church could use that information and work on, I know we're definitely already working on making sure we've got the latest information available about General Conference coming up. A church might want to talk about, well, what is General Conference? What does that have to do with the future of the church? What else? There could be things about, just having conversations about, if you're concerned about the future of the church, well, what are those concerns? Is it about what happens to our building? What happens to my friends? Are they going to leave and go to some other church? Where would I go? Is my church going to exist anymore? That kind of stuff might be something that you do either small group discussions, talk about in your, admin council or church council, and see, what do we need to do to care for our community? Maybe it's just, hey, district superintendent, hey, communication director, we need some information on these because our church was asking specifically about these topics. So then we get to work and prepare what you need so you can inform your congregation. Those topics about outreach, maybe it's a conversation with your finance committee about, how can we work on our budget so that we can maybe hire someone or work out volunteers to do a better job or increase our efforts in outreach area. Those are just some ideas. That's, you guys can figure it out. But for me, one of the things that it's already informed me in the other areas was, we put out information on our website, on Facebook, on Twitter. We were doing quite a bit on LinkedIn. That's kind of slowed down now. Sometimes on Instagram. And we also had a lot on Pinterest. Those survey results told me, and now we're dwindled down in communication staff. We don't have a full team anymore. So continuing, putting stuff out in all those channels is a lot of work. And that's part of why I've kind of dropped the ball there. But turns out our audience so far is saying, I never look at maybe Pinterest. I mean, there are some that do, but the majority are checking their emails multiple times a day, checking maybe their Facebook account multiple times a day. Next would be YouTube at least once a day. And then after that, there was Twitter, TikTok definitely was out, Instagram and Pinterest were kind of hardly ever and a large never. So that tells me, okay, I can feel comfortable about letting those go a little bit if my intention is to use those channels to reach our existing audience. If our intention is, well, we want to recruit new clergy, we want to tell new people about the church. Now I know that, okay, my audience is on Facebook mostly. So my Facebook messaging can be all about our membership and, messages about as if I already know you because you're my people. And I can use Twitter to tell people more about the United Methodist Church. What is it? How is it different than other organizations? What's the benefit to being a member? Or, things as if it's somebody that I don't know because my people aren't there, but there's a ton of people that are there. So that's another way that your church could use the survey results to really fine tune what type of messaging you use in the various communication channels. Questions about that? Ideas? Megan, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I had to get to the unmute. Does the conference have a TikTok?
No.
Okay. So
Thank God.
I'm on TikTok and I have been starting to follow a lot of people deconstructing their Christianity and the fundamentalist whatnot that a lot of us grew up in my generation. And a lot of clergy who are trying to reclaim Christianity for good, which I am like, this is amazing. So I was like, oh, I will hunt down the conference TikTok if there is one.
No, I know. I definitely would, if we had a full staff, it would be so much fun to do something on TikTok. And man, would that make us be relevant? Talk about outreach for young people. It seems like just about, I shouldn't say young people because it does seem like everybody's checking out TikTok now. So it's not really just the young people. But the only reason why I sigh in relief, like, oh, thank God we are not, is just because, like I said, we don't have a full team anymore. So that would be yet another hat trying to fit in within just so many hours in a day. So that's really the only sigh of relief. Ideally, in a perfect world, we have amazing staff that, so that we can be in all these locations, but that's not where we're at right now. And maybe one day we'll have volunteers or other things that we can make use of. And if I ever get the time to come up with a plan for that, I will share it with you guys, because I'm sure churches could use it too. Both volunteers and what is it? When like a college student gets that temporary job at your location for the experience, what is that called?
Internship?
Internship, thank you. Yeah, so one day I'll get my act together and I'll put a plan together that I'll share with you guys about how to go about doing that. We do, FYI, if any of you have time to work on something like that, we have a great connection, at least with, actually, well, we have campus ministers. I forgot about that, at all of our universities in Arizona and Nevada. So you could reach out to campus ministries and talk to them about, hey, I'm looking at maybe having a temporary internship, a 3-month internship. Can you help me with that? And I bet they'd have some information for you. Even if they don't manage it, they'd be able to connect you with the person that does stuff like that. And on conference staff, Billy Fidlin has done something like that in the past, and she's offered to help me with it, but yeah, I just didn't have the time to, all right, let's pick up that conversation and make a plan. So yeah, I think that's all I had. Any other questions, adds, good news, bad news? Nothing? All right. Then I hope that you will all have a wonderful rest of your week. This is a difficult time for many of us, and the church world keeps going. There's people in need, people hurting, people looking for hope. So I don't know, I feel like right now, I'm not normally a prayer person. I am, but not public prayer. I'm not super comfortable with that, but I'm feeling like today's a good day to just do a little prayer. So if you'll join me, bow your heads, close your eyes, take a moment. And we'll ask for our Heavenly Father for comfort, for joy, for love, for hope. Because at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, middle of the day, we are church people, and we are supposed to be a reflection of your love, Lord, even during those times where we feel hurt, lost, and like we're missing out. You know this better than any of us do, and we need your strength and comfort when we're super busy at work, when things quiet down and we have a moment to think about a recent loss, about I wish things were better, concerns about the church. So Lord, please, please strengthen us. Be with us, breathe fresh air of hope within our lungs, so that when those that we encounter seek us for hope and inspiration and wanting your warm love and comfort, that we may faithfully fulfill that call, that reflection of your love. I ask this in the name of your wonderful Son, Jesus Christ, who died for our sake. Amen. Okay, so I hope that you guys have a great rest of your week. Love you all. Thank you all for joining me. I know you're all busy. See you next week.